Background story of the hellhounds. Origin. The hellhounds are the result of the cruel experiments conducted by Edward Richthofen and Ludwig Maxis. Their creation is closely linked to the use of element 115, which has the power to influence life and death. Experiments on animals. As part of their research on element 115, Group 935 conducted various experiments on animals to test the effects of the element on living organisms. These experiments involve transforming animals, including dogs, into aggressive and undead creatures. The dogs were used as test subjects to determine how element 115 could affect the biology of living organisms and to develop a weapon against the undead. Transformation. The dogs captured in the experiments underwent a grotesque transformation. They became not only undead but also gained supernatural abilities, such as the ability to ignite fire and move at lightning speed. These hellhounds became extremely dangerous foes that challenged players in the zombies maps. Connection to element 115. The hellhounds are an example of the abusive use of element 115, which not only had the ability to turn humans into undead, but was also used to transform animals into monstrous creatures. These practices highlight the ethical and moral questions at the center of the zombies narrative. Samantha Maxis and her dog Fluffy. The connection between Samantha Maxis and the hellhounds is particularly tragic, especially regarding the creation of a pregnant dog. Samantha and her relationship with dogs. Samantha as a child. As a child, Samantha had a close bond with animals, especially dogs. She displayed compassion and affection, which starkly contrasts with the cruel experiments conducted by her family and Group 935. The pregnant dog. In the lore, there are hints that Samantha had a dog named Fluffy, who was pregnant when Richthofen and Maxis began their experiments. The dog was selected for the experiments, leading to its cruel transformation. The fate of the pregnant dog. Transformation. The pregnant dog was transformed into a hellhound through the experiments. This transformation was not only cruel, but also symbolic of Samantha's powerlessness against the actions of the adults around her. These events had a profound emotional impact on Samantha and contributed to her later fate and role in the zombies narrative. Emotional conflict. The fate of the pregnant dog reflects Samantha's inner conflict. She is torn between her desire to protect her animal friends and the reality of the dark experiments occurring around her. The fact that an innocent animal falls victim to Richthofen's ruthless schemes amplifies the tragedy in Samantha's life and shapes her later aversion to the undead and the experiments conducted by her family and Group 935. Significance of the hellhounds in the zombies narrative. Symbol of the darkness of the experiments. The hellhounds are not only enemies in the game, but also a symbol of the dark practices of Group 935 and the dangers of the abuse of science. They represent the horrific consequences that arise from the pursuit of power and control over life and death. Moral questions. The existence of the hellhounds and their origin in the experiments of element 115 raises fundamental moral questions. They show how far people are willing to go to achieve their goals and what damage they can inflict in the process. Connection to the characters. The hellhounds are part of the universal fate of the characters in the Zombies series, particularly Samantha Maxis. Her sad and horrific story is closely tied to themes of loss, power, and the consequences of science. Conclusion. The story of the hellhounds is a fascinating, albeit tragic element in the Call of Duty Zombies narrative. Their origin in the experiments of Group 935 and the connection to Samantha Maxis highlight the dark sides of science and the ethical dilemmas faced by the characters. The fate of the pregnant dog is not only a cruel episode in history, but also a reminder of the vulnerability and the impact of the decisions made by scientists. These themes run throughout the entire Zombies series, making it a profound and emotional narrative.